In-text citations are an important part of citing sources in your research paper, and this video will cover two different ways to cite sources within the text of your paper. In-text citations are what briefly identify a source used in a paper, and these enable readers to locate the source in the reference list. The author information in an in-text citation must also appear as an entry in the reference list. There are two ways to format in-text citations. One is a parenthetical citation where the author's last name, followed by the publication date, is in parentheses at the end of a sentence. For two authors, both author names are listed, separated by the ampersand for and. The other way to cite in the text of a paper is a non-parenthetical citation, where the author's last name is included as part of the text of a sentence and the publication date is in parentheses after the author's last name. For two authors, use the word and to separate the last two names. If your source has three or more authors, instead of listing all the authors in an in-text citation, you use the first author's last name followed by et al. As in all in-text citations, this is followed by the publication date, either in parentheses for a non-parenthetical citation or just separated by a comma in a parenthetical citation at the end of the sentence. Here is an example of a paragraph with in-text citations to show what a parenthetical citation looks like, along with several non-parenthetical citations where the author names are introduced as part of the sentence. The et al. Is also used for multiple authors, with the period only after the al. When an organization or group is the author, as is often the case with government reports, you use the group name for the in-text citation, just like it appears in the reference list entry. If the organization or group has a commonly known abbreviation or acronym, you can indicate this abbreviation in the first citation for this source in your paper, either by including it in brackets or in the parentheses with the date for a non-parenthetical citation. Then in any further citations, you can use just the abbreviation. In this example, we first spell out Centers for Disease Control and Prevention with the abbreviation CDC indicated, but then for later citations, we can just use CDC for both parenthetical or non-parenthetical citations. Most of the time, we are citing paraphrased or summarized information from our sources, but sometimes you may want to directly quote something from a source. For direct quotes, you must also include a page number or paragraph number of where you got the quote. In a parenthetical citation, this means the page number is included at the end of the other information in parentheses at the end of the quote. For a non-parenthetical citation, the page number only is in parentheses at the end of the quote. The quotation marks must be included for quoted information, and the parentheses and period at the end of the sentence come after the final quotation mark. Here are a few things to remember about in-text citations in APA format. You only use the author's last name, not any of the first or middle initials. The publication date of the source should immediately follow the author or authors' last names in both types of in-text citations. If you have two authors for a source, use the ampersand symbol to separate them in parenthetical citations and the word and in non-parenthetical citations. For three or more authors, use the first author's last name followed by et al. To indicate there are other authors. Always include page numbers for direct quotes. You do not need to include page numbers for paraphrased information. Your in-text citations should match up with your reference list so that the reader can find all the sources you cite in your paper. Be sure to get help if you have questions about in-text citations. You can go to the UNC Library's website and click on Research Guides, and then click on Citations and Bibliographies. The APA guide is in this list. You could also look at the online APA style guide. You can make an appointment as well with the UNC Writing Center in Ross Hall. Do you have more questions about APA citations? Ask a librarian. You can visit us in person, call, email, or text us. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel for more videos.